I've not heard that Mary Earps isn't the number one. I mean, in recent international games, it's
Right.
true to say that she hasn't always been the goalkeeper playing. But don't forget, she plays abroad. The top of my head, I can't remember where she plays, but
Right.
um, she plays abroad. So we tend not to see her, her current form or whatever, because probably the games are not televised much over here. But I guess if there is a motive to it, an ulterior motive on Mary Earp's part, it may be that she has perceived that she's not, she's gonna travel, but she may not be selected. And if she's going to come back, I mean, mind you, the Euros, you think it's a bit different anyway. So yeah, one imagines that she's got wind of the fact that she's not the number one goalkeeper. I
Mm.
think there, to say about the men's team, there have been players who've actually said, and I think one of them was the great Manchester United midfielder Paul, little chap, what was his name? Class of '92. Paul,
Is it not
you
Paul
know who
Scholes? Scholes,
hmm?
no?
Yeah, Paul Scholes. Yeah. Now he decided he didn't want to play for England anymore. I can't really remember too much detail about that, um, but he made that decision. Another one, I think, is Ben White of Arsenal. He said he didn't want to do that, and I think Vardy was another one. And I think Vardy, who's great footballer. I mean, he's done great things even in Leicester's relegation season just gone. But he also said he didn't want to play, and I've got a vague idea it was because he didn't want to do the travelling and then not actually be played. And you can sort of understand why, if a player experiences that quite a lot, that they turn up, they go to these international breaks and things, and they may get 10 minutes on as a substitute, if that. And you can imagine them thinking, well, all the upheaval of going out and doing this and that, and they're not actually playing in one of the international tournaments. So if Mary Earps feels that will be her position, if she does, I don't know,
Mm.
then all respect to her for
Yeah.
deciding not to. And of course, the other side of it is football, men or women, is a tough game. It's especially in the blinding light of public acclamation, and all your games are on television, and everything you do or say is highlighted. It's
Mm.
it's quite a big deal that probably most of us never have to think about. But I would think just walking out onto a football pitch in front of 20, 30, 40, 60, 90,000 people is a huge thing for people. Now they get trained, they've got talent, but the nerves must be pretty high for most of them, certainly initially. And
Mm.
maybe Mary just felt, we don't know these people. Maybe she felt she couldn't cope with that anymore, that she
Yeah.
couldn't cope with the high pressure of being highlighted, separately singled out, for example, particularly as a goalkeeper. One mistake and your name is mud with the
Yeah.
fans and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I suppose the answer I will give is, without knowing the people concerned, without knowing
Mm.
whether she had been relegated to number two in Serena Wiegmann's eyes or mind,
Mm.
then we can't really understand why it would be. I'm sure there's not been a loss of form. I mean, if you go back a year or so, she won Female Player of the Year, I believe, a year ago, didn't she?
Yeah.
So she was an excellent goalkeeper, and unlike some women goalkeepers in the WSL, she's quite tall, but they're not all tall enough in my view. But she is quite tall, and let's face it, was a very good goalkeeper, very
She
good
was.
goalkeeper.
She was, yeah.
And I can imagine Serena.
Yeah.
And I can imagine Serena is disappointed. And as you say, it might sound as if there hasn't been too much communication between them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Serena, as you say, would have just said, well, look, we wish her well. She's done a great job for England, which she may have said, I don't know. But she's done a
Yeah.
great job, and whatever she does in the future, thank you and good luck. Now, if it wasn't like that, then it's almost as if there's something else going on there.
Very true. Very true. Now, we've got about 5 minutes, but anyway, just looking at Emilio Martinez. He's a really good goalkeeper. Then in the loss to Manchester United, I think it was the last game. He did get sent off. Now, now that is a foul. Do you think is it a sending off offense? What he did?
Yeah, I think it was. I think the more interesting thing, I think it was, yeah. But I think the more interesting thing is what happened subsequently with the replacement goalkeeper,
Right.
where the ref blew the whistle before the ball entered the net and couldn't be looked at by VAR. That was an interesting development, a situation that I think it probably has happened once before. Whether with VAR, I don't know, but I remember a couple of years ago when a ref allowed a corner to be taken, and then it was taken. He then blew the whistle while the ball was in the air, and a forward headed it in, and of course he had to disallow the goal. Well, he had disallowed it because he'd blown his whistle. And I think the questions were, well, what the hell did he allow the corner for? If then when it's taken, he blows his whistle. Yeah. And so you can see the frustration, whether there's something else going on in the ref's mind that, I don't know, perhaps he felt he shouldn't have extended it for the corner. But this idea that these days, they let the play go forward, the refs and the assistant refs, to see if it's a goal, and then it can be looked at by VAR. But once you blow that whistle, I mean, the point was, had the goalkeeper got the ball in his hands, well, he hadn't really, had he? I mean, he hadn't controlled it, so it looks like the goal was legitimate. Yeah. And of course, Aston Villa now feel that they were very hard done by, and it could have affected the result, which it could have done. We'll never know. But as others have said, you've got to base, you said about what Ange said about Tottenham's season, you've got to base whether you qualified for the Champions League or anything else on the whole season. And there were games Villa probably should have won because they're a good side. They should have won, but they didn't. So, the fact that they didn't qualify for the Champions League but got the Europa conference, I think. Yeah. Or league, Europa League, I can't remember. Yeah. But that was down to their whole season. You can't just say, well, the refs made a bit of a blunder there. But, you can't just say it's all about that. You've got to look at it across the whole piece, haven't you, really? Yeah. But, I feel a bit sad for them because the referee maybe was a bit naive. I think Villa's board has complained and said they should have had a more senior, experienced ref. But really, that's a non-starter. I mean, anybody can make a mistake, but it's not the sort of mistake he should have made, given that VAR couldn't then look at what had happened, because if they had, they would surely have given the goal. Yeah, which would have made all the difference. I think straight away, Manchester United went out the other end and scored pretty much. Scored,
yeah. I saw that and I thought it wouldn't have made any difference to Manchester United anyway, because the season was finished for them. But Villa on the other hand, like you said, had something at stake, and it's cost them. So it was a high profile game, wasn't it? So well, let's just hope they get over it. But what's his name? Unari? Was it Villa's?
Oh yeah, Unai Emery. Emery.
Unai Emery. Yeah, he was visibly furious.
I bet he was. Yeah,
he was really furious about it. Right. So this is all we've got time for. I would have to apologize to our viewers and listeners. Couldn't cover all the topics, especially the pyrotechnic and flares at celebrations, but perhaps next time would have a look at that. Do you want to do the conclusion, please, bro?
Yeah, well, we have talked about some controversial events in recent days, recent weeks, and there's no obvious answers to them. So we really just give our views as we feel them. But anyway, I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
And I am Emmy. Excuse me. And I am Emmy Hikins, and he calls me Cuz. So join us again next week for another interesting episodes of the Football Referee. It's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Right.